Hello guys, welcome back to the second class of our text function. In our previous class, we looked at concatenate, find, search, upper, lower, proper. We look at left, we look at learn, we look at replace. Now, we want to continue the class today. And in our today's class, we are going to dive a little bit deep into text function. Text function is useful whenever you are trying to clean up data in Microsoft Excel. So to clean up data, you need to have a good knowledge of text function. It will go a long way to help you in cleaning up certain data that you need to clean up. Now, the data we have here, let's look at the raw data we have here. In our previous class, we were looking at joining the first name, the last name. We look at working on the gender. These were some of the things we look at in our previous class. If you have not watched the previous class video, please kindly check the link below. The link is shown somewhere around the screen. You will see the link for the previous video. In the previous video, we tried to look at the elementary aspects of these functions. Text function is not an elementary topic in Excel. Text function is an advanced topic in Microsoft Excel. But then, in today's class, we want to dive a little bit deep into text function. In our previous class, we laid the background for text function, but in today's class, we are going to dive a little bit deep into text function. Now, let's look at our template. I've created a template we want to use for our today's class. We have the users, and we have about 3,000 users. Now you have been asked to generate a username for the user. Let's look at what we have in as a question, username. Generate a username for all users using their email address username. If you look at their email address of the users, you find that the email address is made up of two sections. The two sections that made up the email address are the username and then the domain name. So what we are asked to do now is to pick out the username as username in this very context. So how do we pick out only the username in this context? What we are going to do here is we are now going to use our text function to clean this up and pick just the username for this very context. In our previous class, we tried to look at using our left function. Now let's try our left function and see whether left function can work in this context. Equal left. Equal left, open bracket, the cell we want to pick from, which is cell F2, and then we put comma, and then followed by the number of characters we want to pick. In this context, we want to pick 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. We want to pick 10 characters, so we can put 10 here and close our bracket. Press your enter key. That will give us exactly what we've done here. Now, what we've done here now is picking the user name manually. But then you find that the rest records are not having the same thing. What we have done here now is just to tell us that this is what we have just done. We told Excel to go to the left hand side of cell F2 and then pick the first 10 characters for us, which give us the user name. But then, what about for the others? If we drag down for the others, you find that we are not getting what we need. And that is because in the formula here, we have a constant. And that constant is 10 as a constant. So it's going to repeat that 10. When you get to the next one, it's going to repeat 10, F3. When you get to the next one, it's going to repeat 10, F3. So it's only username that are 10 that this formula will work for. So what do? We can get rid of this problem. We can solve this problem by combining formulas. Remember, in our previous class, I told us that some of those formulas standing alone make little or no meaning. So here we are going to look at the reality of using some of this formula that we were looking at in our previous class. If you look at the record we have here, there is something common, a common pattern in all this record. The common pattern here is at. The username came before the at. So we are going to look at what if we find the position of that at. So we can do this. Equal find, open bracket, cell F2, comma. Okay, we are looking for at. So equal find, double quote, at. Put it in double quote, comma, inside cell F2. So what does it mean? What does this mean? We are telling Excel to look for the position at is occupying inside cell F2. And I think that is going to be 11. So Excel is telling us that at is at position 11. Now, we don't know the exact number of what we have here, but all we know is that numbers of the username is one step before the at. So if I do this now, I can tell Excel now, in this very formula now, I can tell Excel, okay, look for the position of at and move the cursor one space backward. So let's do that. The formula is now going to be equal find. What are we looking for? We are looking for at. So put it in double quote, comma, inside what cell? Inside cell F2. Close bracket. I'm going to use -1. Let me explain this. What I've just told Excel to do now is look for the position of at inside cell F2. When you get the position, shift the cursor backward one space for me and tell me what position is that. Now when I do this, it's telling me that I'm at position 10. And that is exactly the 10 characters we need here. The same thing we need here. If we drag it down, you find out that it's not dynamic. The 10 is no more constant. So we are now going to use the whole of this formula now to substitute that 10 that we have in this particular formula. So remember the formula we use here is equal left, find equal left F2, comma 10, the number of characters. So we are now going to use the whole of this find formula we've just finished here to substitute the 10 so that the 10 will no longer be a constant. So let's do that. It's now going to be equal left, open bracket. What cell are we looking at? We are looking at the left hand side of cell F2, comma, then this is supposed to be followed by the number of characters that we need. So, but in this context now, we are now going to use a dynamic function, which is this particular function, to replace this 10 characters. So we can put the whole of that inside. We can put the whole of that inside a bracket. So we can do now use find. What are we looking for? We are looking for at. Find. We are looking for at. Find at. inside what cell? Cell F2. Find at inside cell F2, comma, and what do? We say when you get the position at is occupying inside cell F2, shift the cursor one space backward. That's why we use -1. So the whole of this now is going to represent our number of characters. So remember the formula for this very this very left. Say left text inside cell F2 and then number of characters. So the whole of this now is going to represent the number of characters. So we need to close our bracket, and when we press our enter key, that will give us exactly this. So now let's try this and see. So you can find out that now we now have exactly all that we need. It's now giving us the user name. So it has gone into this very cell, look for the username using this at position, and then shift the cursor backward. Here it comes into this very cell, that is F4. If you look for the at position, shift the cursor backward and pick the remaining characters. Here also, it look for position F, the at position, shift the cursor backward one space and pick the remaining characters. So with this, we have been able to achieve our user name. So I hope this is not too difficult for us to understand. It's a little bit advanced than the previous class we had. Let me throw some light there again. The function we use to get this is the the left equal left open bracket F2 the cell we want to pick from, comma, and then the number of characters we want to pick, which we use 10 in the first place. So what we have just done now is to use a formula to generate this 10 dynamically, and that is what we have just done with this formula. I hope this is clear to us. The next thing we want to look at is we have the domain name. In the next question, we are done with this username, we'll be able to get the user name. So the next one we want to look at is the domain name. We've been asked to bring out the domain name. Create a column for the domain name of each user email address. Now, like I said earlier, the user address, the email address of the user is made up of the username and the domain name. The domain name is at the right hand side. So we are now going to use a formula to get this done. But to do this, I want to explain some things to us so that I want to try to make this as simple as I can so that we can really get this clear. Now, if you look at here, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So, the domain name here now, we can use the right function. Equal right. The number of the cell we want to pick from, that is cell F2, and then the number of characters we want to pick, which is 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we can put 11 there as the number of characters we want to pick. We close our bracket, and that will give us the first one. Now, this will work for everyone that is 11. But for those that are not 11, it will not work well for them. So in the other way around, we can as well use a function to get this 11. we can as well use the function to get this 11, just like we did in the previous one. Two ways we can get this done. We can as well go to, let's say, here we can look for the longest domain name. Let's say if the longest domain name is 14, for instance, we can as well use 14 because it's going to pick from this side now. It will pick the 14, but that is not going to give us the accurate thing. It's not going to give us the accurate thing because it will pick together with space. It will pick together with space and some other things that are not needed. So what do we do here? What we need to do now is, let's look for a way of getting this done. It's going to be a longer formula, but then I will first of all do the first one, which is changing this to 14. Let's see. We change this to 14. Simply just change this to 14. And I have something like this. If I use this now, you find that the 14 is going to give me together with other pieces. So using the longest number, using a very long number to see whether you can pick all the distance will not really work out well for us. So in this case now, we need to use some additional function. We need to make use of some additional function. Now I'm going to play a little trick here. We are not going to think out of the box. We are not going to think out of the box. Now let's look at what we can do here. Okay, so let's look at what we can do here. What if we look for the length of this very cell? So in the first place, I want to look for the length of this particular cell. And to look for the length of this cell is going to be equal len, open bracket. The cell I'm looking for the length is F2. So I'll close my bracket, enter. That tells me that the length of everything here is 22. If I use my autofill down, it tells me the length of what I have in each of these particular cells. Now, having gotten the length, what if I look for the position of at? The position of at, because I can see from what we have here that there's a common pattern. After the at, I have the rest thing that I'm looking for. So, the same way we look for the at in the previous example, we use equal find, open bracket. We are looking for what? We are looking for at. So put that in double quote, at. Close your quote, comma, inside what cell? Inside cell F2. And then we close our bracket. And that gives us 11. Excuse me. So we are getting there gradually. Now, what we have gotten here now is that the length of what we have in this cell is 22, and the position 11 is, the position at is 11. So, what if we do plus and minus in this case? What if we do plus and minus in this case? What if we now pick this, that is, let's do this now, equal whatever we have here minus whatever we have here, and that will give us what? 11. So what we are seeing here now, what I'm trying to do here now is that the thing we are trying to do here now, we find the length of this very cell, and then we find the position of this, that is the at, and then we try to remove everything from the at down to the beginning. Remove it, and whatever is left is what the number we are looking for. Let me explain that again. we look for the length of what is here, and we look for the position of at. We find out that at is at this position. So we are now trying to tell Excel from at minus whatever you have from at, from the total length of what the cell is. Whatever is left is what we need. So that is exactly what we are going to use. Now in this case, now you find out that we have how many formula here? 1, 2. We have 2 formula, and we have the third formula here. So we are going to combine all this now into our right function. So the whole of this formula we are combining, we want to use them to resolve this 11, so that 11 will no longer be a constant. So let's do that. I hope you follow what I've just explained. If you don't get it, please just rewind the video, watch it over and over and over again. I know you will understand what I'm trying to explain. So let's do this. Equal right, open bracket. What text? We are looking for F2, F2, Now, what do we look for? We will need, how many characters do we want for this very right? After getting the F2, we need to specify the number of characters. So, in this case now, is the number of characters that we don't know. So, we are going to put that in double quote, in bracket, so that this bracket is going to resolve the number of characters for us. So, after that bracket, we need another bracket which is going to close this very first bracket. So this is our formula. Equal right. Go to the right hand side of cell F2 and pick a number of characters from us. The number of characters is what we don't know. But whatever the formula inside here is going to generate the number of characters that we need to pick. So the formula we need now, first of all, we need to find the length of F2, and then we'll also find the position of at. So to find the length of F2, we are going to use equal what? We don't need equal again because equal is already in our formula. So we need find, open bracket. What are we looking for? We are looking for at. So put that at in double quote. Put that at in double quote, comma, inside what cell? Inside cell F2. Inside cell F2. Close the bracket. So, if you look at what I have here, this one here now is going to find the position, it's going to find the length of what we have in F2. And we need to find this is going to find the position of at. And we need also to find the length of F2. So, to do that, we are going to use len, open bracket, len, open bracket, F2. F2, close bracket. So, I'm going to put a minus in between here. Let me explain this to us again. From here is our first part of the formula. The second part of the formula is from here, where we are going to use, the one we are going to use now to generate the actual number we are looking for. So what we have here now is length. Find the length of what we have. Find the length of what we have inside cell F2, and then find the position of at inside cell F2. So it's going to find the length of what we have inside cell F2, and then minus, you can put that in a bracket. You can put that in a bracket. So if we put this in bracket, remember our board mass, this is first of all going to generate an answer for us. And what this is going to generate for us is 22. And then from the find, we can also put a bracket there to separate it also. From the find now to this point, from the find now to this point is also going to generate 11 for us. So we have a minus in between. So it's going to be 22 minus 11. Whatever we have left is what we need. So what are we talking about now? We are looking for at inside this very cell, and then minus from at down, and whatever we have left is what we are looking for. So let's press our enter key, and we have something like this. If I use my autofill to drag down, we find that we have exactly what we want. So let's look at this now. What if this was something like exam this? Will it give us exactly what we need? So this formula has been able to resolve that for us. I know it's a little bit tricky, it's a little bit advanced, but I want you to really understand how we can combine Excel function to get certain things done. So that is using the right, and combining it with find, and combining it with a len to get this result. So that is our answer here for this particular one. The next one we want to look at, the next thing we want to look at is, we want to look at the city. Okay, we'll look at the city, we'll look at the state code, and we'll also look at the country. We'll look at how we can generate this. Let me just draw the background of what we want to do here. The city is from this point. The city is from this point to this point. That is the city. From the first comma to the dash. That is the city. While the state code is this 2, NA, NV, we have TN and the rest. And then the country is from this forward slash down is the country. Now, this address was given to us like this, but we need to separate the city from the state code and then from the country. So we are going to do this using applying some formulas. Then the next thing we'll look at also is the house address. The house address. The house address. When you look at the house address of these users, the house address is from this point. From this point down is the house address. From the comma down is the house address. So the house address appears before the comma. So we want to look for the house address. How do we look for the house address now? Let's do that. I want to hide all of this. I want to hide all of this. Okay. Let's hide the whole of this. So here we are. We want to look for the house address. We want to look for the house address. From what we've done, we understand that the house address is before the comma. The comma separates the house address. The comma separate is unique in all the formula. So we are supposed to use something like the len function, the left function to get this done. So we can use something like equal left, open bracket, equal left, open bracket. Where do we pick from? We are picking from K2, comma, then the number of characters we want to pick from the left hand side. In this context, we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. In this context, we have 15. So if we put 15 here and close our bracket, that will give us this, which is the house address for this particular user. But we remember that we are putting 15 here, which is a constant, which is not going to work out for the rest. So we need to replace the 15 with a function. We need to find a function to replace the 15 so that we can generate this number dynamically. So what function can we use? We can look for the position of this comma, which is unique. So we can do this, equal find, open bracket, inside cell K2, comma, we are looking for comma, so put it in double quote, comma, inside cell K2, close your bracket. Now that tells me that the comma is in position 16. So what I need is everything before the position 16. So I can tell Excel, okay, when you get this, shift the cursor one space backward by using -1. Because if you don't use -1, this comma is going to be included in our formula. So we shift the cursor one space backward. So the whole of this now is now going to be what we use to replace our 15. That is the number we have there. So I can copy this. Press escape key. When you copy something like this, press escape key. So I'm going to now use this, equal left, open bracket, the cell address that I want to pick from, that is K2, comma, then the formula. So I can use something like a Control V to paste it there, close the bracket. But remember, the equal sign is no longer going to be here, so that is going to be this. So the whole of this now is going to represent the 15. We can put it in bracket if we want. It's optional, but I always like to do this so that the formula can be more readable. So what am I saying now? From this bracket to this bracket is representing the number of characters, while from here is representing the text. So if we do this and press your enter key, that will give us our answer. When you use your autofill and fill that will give us exactly what we are looking for. I believe this has been a little bit advanced, but then I think by the time you reverse it over and over again, you'll be able to understand the concept we are trying to introduce here. What I'm trying to introduce here now is that in Excel, in working with data, especially as a data analyst, there are some raw data that you will come across that they are very complex for you to clean up. So you need to understand some of these text functions to be able to clean up some of this data. Thank you very much. What we have done in this very class is we've been able to use our right, left, length. These are the three things we focused on in this class. In the next class, we'll be looking at the mid, the trim, and more that we will be able to look at as we move on. This is the second class of our text function for cleaning up data in Microsoft Excel. Thank you very much. You can hit the like button. You can click on the subscribe button. Hit the notification button for the next video that will be coming up. And you can drop your comment in the comment box for me to be able to know exactly what you think about this video. And if you have any topic you want us to create a video on, please feel free, drop it in the comment box. I'll check it and look at the comment, and then we can pick it up from there. Thank you very much. God bless you.